Well, my name is Charlie, and I work for Wikibase Solutions. And I am going to be talking about Open CSP, and in particular, creating a knowledge base. So I'm doing a tutorial on creating a knowledge base using Open CSP and trying to show you how easy that is. In the meantime, if that's okay with you, I'm going to turn off my video because I have the feeling my internet is not very, very good. So I'll turn off my video. So we're going to be creating a knowledge base using Open CSP. Now, Open CSP is MediaWiki with a dedicated set of extensions, some Lua modules, templates, and widgets. So basically, it's an all-in-one package that is open source. You can download and install it on top of your MediaWiki or create a new MediaWiki with this. And one of the dedicated extensions is Semantic MediaWiki, which, of course, is well known to everybody and what makes it a semantic wiki. So why? We want to build, create, handle, link, and find structured data. We have a lot of customers, and you probably see that yourself, that there's a lot of information, but information is hard to find, it's hard to structure it, all those kind of things. And I thought I'll show you, give you a presentation on how to actually set this up. Well, one of the first things you need to do is plan, because a knowledge base is a very bright word, right? A knowledge base could be an ISMS. A knowledge base could be a document management system. A knowledge base could be a CMS. There's a lot of things, the basis of what the basis is a knowledge base. So you need to plan. Planning is like 50%, well, I think even 60% of all the work. What kind of knowledge base are we going to create? So documents, products, it's going to be files. And what defines each document within your knowledge base? So basically, MediaWiki, everything is a page. So that page that you're going to create, what is it? What's the content? Do you perhaps want to link the content to other content that you have in your wiki? Should we have categorization? What do you want to see when you're searching for your information in your document management system, in your knowledge base, I should say? Should we have dashboards with information about your knowledge base, or lists, create lists with all kind of information? And later on, do we need to add more to the knowledge base? So all those kind of things, you need to plan ahead. So in practice, that means that if you have a customer, you're going to sit down, go through all the documents they have, all the needs they have. That's like 60% of all the work. And especially with Open CSP, and you'll see that in a minute, it's pretty easy to actually start building your knowledge base. Now, why would we want to do that? Well, you want to make your knowledge searchable, findable, actually usable. There's so many companies that have a lot of documents in SharePoint, but can't even find the right documents or even link documents together. There's still a lot of companies that have, shared drives where they have Word documents on them. Try to find the right information. That's pretty difficult. Also, especially now with AI, you want to prepare for the future. If you have a very good knowledge base with relevant metadata and all those kind of things, that makes working with AI a breeze, because you can focus the AI assistant or whatever you're going to do with all the information that you have. If you don't have all that extra information, then it's pretty difficult to get AI to do what you want it to do. Another example is, and we've done that already, if you have SharePoint, well, perhaps if you use the search within SharePoint, you want to see results from your wiki, your knowledge base that you have somewhere else, but you want to see the results there as well, so you can actually link documents that you have in SharePoint with results that you get from the wiki, from your knowledge base. That's very interesting as well. And there might be other tools. What if you want to be exporting because somebody needs certain information? If you have everything structured and set up, it's all a breeze. But also gathering statistics. If you have everything set up really nice, you can create lists and the search, as I already mentioned. But you can also create things like what is popular content? What is content that actually needs attention because you can see it's not visited, but you know it's very important. So those are all interesting things and really necessary as well. And if you set up everything really right, and you're perhaps creating an ISMS, you're ISO ready. Everything everything is put down, everything is readable, everything is findable, and that's for ISO really important. So what are we going to do? And I hope I'm not talking too quickly because we have some time. We're going to make a product documentation knowledge base. So let's say you have products and you have documentation for that, and you want to put that into the wiki so you can do stuff with it and make sure it's all, organized, but also findable. So what are we going to do first? And I've thought about these a bit, but of course it all depends on your needs or the company you're working for. But we're going to define some metadata that comes with every page of documentation. And Semantic MediaWiki, you can call that properties. Well, of course you need a title. That's why I put between brackets that it's required. A short description, I put that in there because what I want to do with the short description, if you want to search for documentation, you want in the search result a short description. That shows actually the short description for the product documentation. I want to make that mandatory at page grade, and I'll show you that in a minute. A version, because the product might have different versions. In this case, I just put it in there, and you can leave it out if you don't need it, or you need any other metadata there. A category, some tags, and a target audience. And basically everything is required except for the tags. So those are that's the metadata that I think that is necessary if I'm going to create a page that is about product documentation. So how do we go about doing that in Open CSP? One of those, so the product documentation, it's like it will have the documentation of the product, but it will also have those metadata as shown you on the previous slide. Now, that combined, we call a class definition in Open CSP. Now, there's a menu in Open CSP. You just click on the menu, you choose class definitions, and you get a list of all the class definitions. And there's also a button called New Class Definition. If you click that button, you get a pop-up. And you see the pop-up on the right side. Now, what I've chosen to do here, I want to make this product documentation also a bit SEO friendly, so that websites, so the Google search engines and all those kind of things can easily find it because the URL will make sense. It would be, so on the top right, we have class documentation / product. And then if you create a new product documentation page, it will be / and then the name of the product. There's some other things that you can do. You can have the page title format, which will be the title. So if I would type test, then it will be documentation / product / test. So we're using the title as the page title format. Now you can also use, for instance, the whole Open CSP, you can also use that to create, let's say, invoices. Then your class will be invoices, and then page title format, you could say like next available, which means that you get invoice /1 or invoice /2 or 3, etc., etc. So there's a lot of things you can do there. But in this case, documentation, product title, that's basically all we need to do. All the other stuff is for layout. There's a lot of things you can do, but I'm not going to go into that here. You can go to the website and have a look at that. There's also another possibility, which is really nice to mention. You can also put it in a namespace, MediaWiki namespace. You could perhaps call it documentation or docs. And the really nice thing is that in the menu that comes with Open CSP, there's also an extension. One of the extensions that come with Open CSP, which is called WS Spaces. It allows you to create a namespace on the fly. So you could, before you start creating this class definition page, you could go to WS Spaces, create a new namespace key and a namespace name, and you probably both call them docs, and a little description. And then you can actually start creating the class definition and then use that namespace. So then the namespace would be docs and then slash the name of the product, or even slash product and then name. So there's a lot of things you can do. You're very free to create however you want to create that knowledge base with the product documentation. Now, once you've created, so once you fill in, like on the right side, and you click submit, you get like an overview about that class definition. And at the very bottom, you can start adding your metadata, the metadata that we've talked about here. So these kind of things. So if I'm not mistaken, because I think it's pretty small, I can actually zoom in. I can. It's pretty straightforward. There's a lot of things you can fill in. But in this case, we just type in that we need a title, a short description, a version, category, tags, and target audience. There's other things you can fill in, but for now, we're just not going to talk about all the other things. I want to do a required. I want for the short description to be required, but also, as I mentioned, that it should be mandatory. So when you create a new document page, I want this short description to pop up. So you cannot create a new document page if you do not fill in the title and a short description. Otherwise, it just will not allow you to create a new page. Then we got the version, which is a text field. The short description is a text area. You can choose that. A category, it'll be tokens. Tags will be tokens. The category is required. The tags are not. And then the target audience, I want that to be a select field where I can only choose between user, sysop, and manager. Something I just made up, but feel free to whatever needs that you have. And once you click save, you get like an overview that you see on the bottom where everything is defined as an overview that you can see on your class definition page. So once that's done, you can basically get your colleague that's going to create your knowledge base or going to fill your knowledge base with all the product documentations. And they can there's a button that's called new page, but you can configure this any way you want to. But like in the basic Open CSP, there's a new page that gives you a pop-up asking for the title, and then select the class definition that we've created. So on the right, you can see that. And as soon as I choose documentation product, I get this one as well, the short description, because I said it should be mandatory once we start filling, once we create a new product documentation page. It will not allow you to submit if you do not have a title and do not have a short description. That's very important. That's one of the key features of a knowledge base, right? You need to have the information. Do not create a product documentation page with only half of the metadata, because you will have problems finding it or linking it to other stuff. So it's one of the mandatory things within a knowledge base. Now, once you click submit, it'll bring you to the new page that you've created. So in this case, I put some numbers in 1, 2, 3, and I'll go through them. So you got the page, and in this case, the way we've set up the class definitions, on the right side, you get the metadata. On the left side, it just focuses on the content, meaning that if you start editing the main content, that person that's creating the documentation for my test product will only have to focus on the documentation. He doesn't need to be bothered with all the metadata. So there's no templates, there's no widgets, there's nothing inside this main content. You just start like what you see on slide 2. Just create your content here with the visual editor. And of course you can add templates if you'd like, but you do not have to. You just focus on the content, or just copy and paste the stuff that you have in a Word document, for instance. What you can also see is that with the edit, everything in whole Open CSP, everything is done through forms. The reason for that is to, again, make sure that the metadata is the metadata that you want it to be. So version, I made that a text field, but I could have also done making it a number field, making sure that people can only fill in a number. Yeah, sorry, I got a pop-up and I thought it was for me, but it's not. So making sure that everything is what you want it to be. If you have like a URL going to some other site, make sure the input field will be a URL, so it will only accept URLs. All those kind of things you can do, and it's very, very important. So with the target audience, I've just choose SysUp here, but if you click that, you just get it. You can only choose from the three that we defined at the bottom here: user, SysUp, and manager. So, and the way this looks, you can change whatever you want, but we're now just talking about setting up a knowledge base. So I'm not going to talk about, changing the layout or those kind of things, but you can. So people can now just easily start creating your documentation, right? Your product documentation, and you will have all the information here on the right side. You could also have all this information pop up underneath here as well, so you will not be able to create a new page if not all this information is filled in. But I wanted to show you that you can do it with only a couple of fields. So that's basically already it, like creating a simple product documentation and how to address that. So planning is very, very important. And once you've got the planning set up and you know what kind of metadata you need, then the rest is basically a breeze. Okay, now we have that information. What about finding it? Well, I've typed here in the the content area, I said add actual documentation here. If I would go to the menu and say search, I get a search, which is Wiki Search, which also comes with Open CSP, and it's basically Elasticsearch. If I would search for actual documentation, sure enough, because the website wasn't really filled with any other pages yet, I get this, because in the free text we had add actual documentation here. So if I search for actual documentation, it'll pop up. I can also search by the value of a property. As I said, I put the target audience in SysUp. As there's only one page currently in my setup, in my demo, if I would type setup of SysUp, it will find my test product again, because one of the values of the metadata was SysUp, so it'll find it. Now, Wiki Search also allows you to do a lot of things on how to search. And you can create various search pages. You could create a search page specifically for product documentation and only have facets on the left side that have to do with product documentation. But if you go to the normal search, it'll have some stuff. And if I would click on documentation product, which is one of the classes, it'll show me all the pages that are in this class. And in this case, there's only one, so it shows up here as well. So there's various ways of actually really easily finding your documentation. And as I said, all these facets can be changed. You can have every part that you've defined here on the right side, version, category, tags. You could target audience. You can put that in here as well, so you can filter on that. And here in this case, I've shown you a little bit more. I added the category because that was not by default. So I added a facet called category, and I can just, if there's more categories, you can just click the category that you want, and then it'll filter the results here. So now, I hope people understand this, and that it looks easy, and it is easy. That's one of the reasons I wanted to show you that, and that the planning is very, very important. Now, what if we want to start linking documentation? Say your wiki has other documentation. Maybe you have the products in there as well. So you have products and you want to link the product documentation. Now, I looked at the wiki I had, and it had a class definition of persons. You can do that as well, of course. So on the right, you see here, and perhaps I can zoom in a little bit, there was a class definition of person, and I made some test pages for that. So I created this one. And what I want, my idea is to make one of those persons owner of the product page. So we have the product documentation, and what I want to do now is add some metadata fields, some properties, where I can say who is the owner of this product documentation. So if we go back here, while we created the metadata, we're going to be adding, there's a plus sign there, and we're going to add 2 more. And the first one is going to be a ask token. Basically, it does a semantic MediaWiki query, and it adds that as a token to your metadata, and it's going to be searching for the class person. What I've also done is add a checkbox saying it needs attention, allowing me to add a person to a product documentation page, and also say that, you know, this product documentation page, it needs attention. We can now go back to our test product, and we can look up Charlie as the owner. If I type C here, I made the screenshot, it finds Charlie. I had some other people in there, but it finds me. So I choose me. I have like a small screenshot here as well, and I'm going to say it needs attention. So the information that is on this product page with the owner Charlie, it needs attention. I hope you know what I'm going at. What you can do now is, especially if you go back to having an ISMS, like a security management system, if you create a knowledge base based on, if you create an ISMS based on a knowledge base, as I'm showing you here now, you can create overview pages, say a dashboard on the user page. If I would go there, I could get like a list of pages that I'm the owner of and that they need attention. So, and then, you know, there's a link, I can click on it and go to it and see what the, you know, and have a look. You can have an extra description field describing what the issue is or whatnot, but you get the idea. You can also, one of the other things that you could, what you could do is have FlexForm, because everything here you see, as I mentioned earlier, all the forms, that's done through an extension called FlexForm. It allows for creating fields, you know, when needed. FlexForm also has the ability to send out emails. So you could basically create like the list that you see here as an action overview and have that put inside a mail and send that every start of the week to the user that actually has something in there. So every Monday morning, they get an overview of the pages that need attention. So a lot of things that you can do with this setup, how I linked a person to a product documentation page. I was going to say something else that just popped up in my mind, but I forgot. So, and it's not in the presentation, so it should be fine. As you can see, this went pretty fast. I'm already through my presentation, and I was wondering if people have any questions or ideas or situations they have that they have questions of, and if this might be a good solution for them. So those are my questions. Or, you know, if there's any questions, let me know. I can't hear anything, Tim, so it's up to you if there's questions. Yes.
We have a microphone, so if you have any questions, I will run around and you don't even have to move much more than your head.
Okay.
Any questions? It does not look like that. Many now much wiser faces, but no raised arms.
Well, then I either did a very good job, or there's not many people there.
You have smiling faces in the room.
Okay, that's good. That's good.
There's the questions. 1 second.
Sure.
Test, test.
Hi, Charlie. This is Richard Evans. I really like Open CSP and where it's going. I haven't yet been able to use it because we have an established wiki, and it's not clear to me how we would incorporate Open CSP into something.
Well, you are muted, so
Say again?
I'm not hearing anything.
Oh, this may not work. It won't work, right? Because, no, yeah. Okay, yeah. I think you have to come here because I cannot connect. I don't think I can connect. No, I don't think. Yeah. So you have to use the laptop microphone. If you want, we can try to leave it like that.
Yeah. Test 1, 2, Charlie. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay.
Hey,
well,
Rich.
So very good.
It's Rich, no?
Very good presentation. So my question is relating to product documentation, where the product documents have supporting material. Oftentimes, you'll find in a piece of product documentation images and figures.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the challenges that we've had trying to do product documentation using MediaWiki is trying to keep the supporting files that are often where the figures and diagrams are edited close to the resulting document that these figures and diagrams get added into. And I was wondering if Open CSP and the product documentation tooling that you've shown us, does it have the ability, like if I have the text of the document, presumably as in Wikitext, is there a convenient and easy way for me to keep track of the images and figures that would be embedded within that document, or are they in the traditional MediaWiki approach just sort of free floating in the images folder?
No, that's actually a very good question, and I didn't touch it here. But what you could do, let me have a look at where's the page where we. Right. Okay. So what you could do here on the right side here, that I hope you see my screen. You have the metadata, right? You could do a input type of a file. So it allows you to upload images. And because you do it in the sidebar, you can actually, the sidebar is nothing else like a template somewhere. Not in the main content of the page, but it's in this case one of the slots. So basically what you could do is upload files right there and make sure that in the file page for the uploaded file, there will be like a template setting properties as well, linking your files to this page of your product documentation. There's also other ways of doing it. Because FlexForm was installed, what we had one company, all its documentation were Word documents with figures and images. And the nice thing about FlexForm is that you can actually upload the Word document, and it will convert it, including all the images, and it will put it in the main content of your page. I'm not sure, and it will actually link all the images that it uploaded to this page. So then you also have the link of the images uploaded to this product documentation. So there's various ways about doing that, but it's a little bit more in depth. But yeah, you can do that pretty easily.
Okay, thank you very much. We're looking forward to using Open CSP, and hoping maybe to talk with you later about how to migrate, how to get Open CSP running in an established wiki on another talk. Thank you.
Perfect. You'll know where to find me.